Day one, we've rocked up to site, you've rocked up to site, and you've gone, oh shit, there's asbestos.
Welcome to the Build Insight podcast. Real people, real insights. Step into the world of innovative construction, one conversation at a time. Today's guests are Zoe and Andrew from my Callery building project, the Creek House. We dive into the client's perspective and highlight the importance of clear communication, collaboration, and detailed design. Welcome to another episode of the Build Insight podcast. Today is probably one of the more unique experiences that we've had so far on the podcast. I have the pleasure of being joined by two of my clients. I've got Andrew and Zoe from our Creek House project, and an absolutely incredible location to have it. We're currently sitting at the brand new, beautiful marble benchtop here in their finished home. It's been a very busy day today so far. We've had a blower door test this morning to try and get the final number on how the home is going to perform. Yesterday was our content day where we got all of the finished shots and things like that. They've been on the camera as well this morning, and they've fortunately been open to jump on an episode of the Build Insight podcast. So Zoe and Andrew, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did ask before whether you've been on a podcast before or not, and I think the answer was definitely going to be no. So
Definitely no, and who knows, maybe I'll do it again.
Oh, I like it. Same with the build.
Absolutely.
All right. So, yeah, I guess what I wanted to achieve out of today was, get a different perspective. Like most of the time we talk to builders, architects, other industry professionals, and we hear a lot about what people do as professionals in the building industry, but it's very rare that people will get to understand or hear the experience of what you guys went through as a homeowner. So I really think this is going to be an interesting and useful topic for not only homeowners that listen to the podcast, but also builders to be able to understand a little bit about the process, what went well, what didn't go well, what you would do different or anything like that. Let's maybe start about, where the project started, a little bit about the original home, and we'll unpack it from there.
Sure. Where should we begin? So we bought the house back in
21.
20. Yep. Moved in 2022, and we thought we were buying a house that would just need a bit of a tizzy up and would be fine. It was maybe 6 months into living here that we realised that the house needed a bit more than a tizzy up. It was going to need a proper full-blown renovation. We loved the house. So rather than complete knockdown and rebuild, which probably would have been a more cost-effective solution, we did want to retain the original residence. It's a beautiful bungalow set in we're very lucky and very blessed where we live. I have to acknowledge that regularly. It's set in a beautiful suburb. We've got the creek behind us, and we knew we wanted to stay here and be able to put on a renovation that honoured the original house, complemented it, but also knowing that we wanted to build something that was modern and not something that looked like it was built in 1925.
Yep.
I wanted to give the old girls justice, and I don't think she'd previously had that.
Was there anything that you mentioned, a couple of things like obviously the area, the creek behind it, but was there anything in particular like that really drew you to this particular house?
So Zoe was working in KI. We'd sold our last place, and we were in kind of that rush mode of having to find somewhere before the 90 days run out. And I did the inspection, which is dangerous in itself, but I rang Zoe and said I found it. And she was like, well, did you take? And I said, yeah, I've taken videos. And I said, but ignore the videos of the house. It's not about the house. I said, when you walk out into the backyard and ignore it, it's covered in ivy. You can't see a thing. There was this rickety old fence, but the gate was kind of half ajar. And I've opened the gate with the real estate agent and said, it's that Brown Hill Creek. And he's like, yes. And so that was, for me, it was that location.
Yep.
And it was there. And then Zoe said, how many bedrooms did it have? And I said, I can't remember. Sorry.
Strapped to the location. Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was it. That's what sold it. We're, as I said, incredibly lucky to be where we are, to be 6 kilometres from the city.
Yeah.
But feel like we're, almost in the hills having these beautiful river red gums behind
Yep.
us and the creek. You know, it's a very unique location.
It
I
is,
believe.
absolutely, because we've done a couple of projects around this area before, and this is definitely by far the most unique one. You do not feel like you're in like that tight metropolitan Adelaide. It's
No,
cool.
no.
Obviously, as you mentioned, the original plan for the home was just a bit of a tizzy up, and as it grew, what point did it get to where you realise it's like, okay, well, this is the plan that we actually need to do for the project? What was the vision when you got to that point?
I don't know, really. I guess the vision was to, I don't know, what was our vision?
I guess, you know, as Zoe said, tizzy up for us. Former neighbour was a builder, and he was the one who delighted in telling us that the previous extension was going to fall down, and so no, we weren't just going to tizzy it up. I think from a vision perspective, very early we committed to the idea of wanting the extension to remain as 2-storey, but also wanted that second story to be ours, so that we could take advantage of the views
Rather than the
I
kids'
think that-
bedrooms.
Yes.
And then I think also when we bought the place, as I said, like everywhere was covered in ivy, but not only that, like the decking was covered, the windows were covered. It was very, very dark. So if there was any vision, it was to open up.
Yep.
So the ability to see out, but also to allow lighting.
Yeah, yeah, and to work on that as well. Having that strong. I mean, again, I will ramble on about the environment constantly, but having that strong connection to the environment was incredibly critical
Yeah.
for us. I adore where we live. I adore the trees and nature, and to be able to have the vision of being able to sit in a kitchen, a lounge room, and have that immediate connection, and just the respite it offers. At the end of the day, we both work in corporate roles, both have reasonably stressful jobs in what we do. We have a busy life with children. And I really wanted the extension to be a calming space where we could rejuvenate and, you know, enjoy our time.
Your sanctum.
Yeah.
Yep. For over 130 years, Bowen's has been the builder's choice, providing a service that provides timber, hardware and innovative building products.
And now we're helping you further with this wonderful partnership.
The family that have been here for generations, Bowen's, has been powering the Australian building industry with family values, trusted service and the drive to make our industry better. They're helping us provide you the insights that matter. Build insight together with Bowen's.
Real people,
Real insights.
Yep. Where did the passion come from for wanting to improve or have a lot of the sustainable aspects and more of the energy efficiency and high performance aspect of it? Was it kind of something that you stumbled across by accident, or you had someone refer you to do a lot of your own research, or talk me through where this has come from or where that came from?
I think it's been embedded in me for decades, really. I grew up in a household. I have parents who certainly weren't hippies or anything like that, but were very environmentally conscious. So it's sort of in my DNA to be environmentally conscious. And then I couldn't even earmark a time where I always wanted to build a sustainable house. And I've discussed before that I originally wanted to build a straw bale house and to be completely off grid. So, and I've wanted that since, my early 20s. So it's just something that I've always wanted to do. With the last renovation that we did, acknowledging that adopting sustainable design practices does cost a little bit more. Previously, we haven't been in a position where we could afford to do that. But this time round, it became something that we were less willing to compromise on as well.
Yep.
So we stuck to our guns and
I guess having seen last time and seen the compromises Zoe made, as much as those principles maybe aren't as important to me, they were important to me in the sense of I couldn't see her make those same compromises.
Gotcha.
And for two reasons. One, if she made them, I knew we'd be out the door sooner than I wanted to be, because we'd be doing it again to achieve them. So it's like, no. As much as the principles are probably stronger for Zoe, I probably held stronger on them to ensure she she achieved what she wanted to as well.
Yep. So I guess on that previous experience, there was you've both done different types of projects together. Renovation previously, Andrew, I know from our chats you built a couple of new homes before. Is there any other important lessons that you learnt from those previous experiences that really that you wanted to adapt to this, or any main drivers for change?
I mean, again, probably previous ones had been off the plan and maybe some minimal changes, like a townhouse off the plan. And, when I was young, living in the country off the plan, I guess we wanted a design that would suit us. So again, we wanted to play a part in the role of how the house would fit to us, was important to us. And Zoe's a project manager, so time, quality, cost, that's what drives everything, right?
Yep.
So that was important to us, that we found someone that could, achieve those three things for us.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'd also say, and the previous renovation we did was good, and it went smoothly and delivered on time. Everything was, ticks all the boxes. But I think what I've enjoyed more about this one, I don't know whether I enjoyed it or not, but being on site, living on site, and we didn't do that
Yep.
the last renovation, and that was good because it allowed us to have a closer interaction with the build process, which I acknowledge can be a benefit and disbenefit. But ultimately what it led to, I think, and it partly led to, was a really good communication. And I think that has been a contributing factor to the success of this project.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up actually, about talking about you guys living in the home, your experience on that a little bit later. But while we're here, we might as well continue it, because I know we've openly had this conversation throughout the build as well. Andrew's come to me a few times and said, are we a pain in the ass, or what's it like with us here? And I mean, from our perspective as well, it's definitely got its pros, but it's got its cons. There's obviously some of the cons is depending on the space that you've got available, like whether you're kind of stepping on each other's toes. We're trying to build, we're trying to contain a building site, and then you guys obviously still need to live. You've got a family that, it's still a living family that needs to move around the property as well. And yeah, definitely, like you said, Zoe, some of the pros is definitely if there's a few things on the plan that are left to interpretation, like we can kind of grab you guys and get an answer for it straight away, rather than previous ones if the client's not living in the home, or we have to wait for a scheduled site meeting that's potentially 2 weeks away to come up with those answers, or try and call an emergency meeting where it could just be tricky to try and get them. So yeah, from our perspective, there's definitely been pros and cons as well. Any of those pros and cons that you particularly want to talk about besides the communication, or has it been hard living in the home?
I think what it took was a lot of planning initially to work out how we'd set up the house to make it livable. So yes, invest time up front, make sure you've got someone to put your washing machine. I highly recommend having a dishwasher as well, just a small one, 45 centimetre one, just made the world of difference and made it livable. Yeah, it was planning. It's a prior planning that set us up for success to live there. I am certainly at a point now, so 9 months in, I am getting slightly over it. But that's,
We gave you a microphone. You can be as honest as you want.
That's that's more to do with you really need to, living in close confines, you really need to be on the ball with tidiness.
Yep.
And
especially with a family of 5 squeezed in that space.
Yeah. So clothes to go away every night, and toys to be packed away every night, and dishes to be put away. You really feel clutter when you're living this closely.
And I guess for context for the listeners, it's not like you had nothing. You at least had a bathroom. So it was a fully functioning bathroom that was adapted to it was the wash space, wasn't it? Was the dishwasher in the bathroom? Or was
The dishwasher was in the bathroom,
Yeah.
and a washing machine.
And the washing machine.
And a tumble dryer. Yeah.
Wow. Visualise that. There's one bathroom for 5 people.
Bath removed.
That's right. The bath removed, and in place of the bath was a washer, tumble dryer, and a dishwasher. In the family bathroom for 5.
And that was our main running sink as well in the bathroom.
Well done.
But you know what? I sort of think about it as
That
well.
wasn't the issue. None of that to me caused issues for us. The temporary kitchen that we had, because it didn't have running water and because it was small,
Yep.
that was harder as soon as there was more than one person in there. And I'd say more latterly, like the last couple of months, the combining kind of 2 desks and a lounge and a TV in the lounge room probably got a bit much.
Yeah.
And the world's most
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
because you both work from home a fair bit.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
So there's that whole other element there as well. It's kind of, it's not just,
Yeah.
there's a workspace there too that needs to be accommodated for.
Well, and I think that's where I'd go. The cons probably come from the builder's perspective, is because I'm working from home. I'm there if I need a break or whatever. I'm coming out on a phone call or I'm grabbing a
Yep.
coffee. I generally walk outside. That's just what I've done. And
Yep.
so all of a sudden I had people that could listen to me or talk to me. And you know, I'm sure there were times you rocked up and were like, "Guys, can you stop talking to the owner?"
What are we on? 10 smoko for the day, boys, are we?
But, you know, I mean, even, we spoke about location and stuff as well. And, you know, as you know, we had like fencing and temporary fencing set up. I think it was within the first week, the boys discovered the backyard behind the fence. And that was where Smoko and Lunch was. Because why wouldn't you? It's much nicer than the building site. It was under a
sit by the
tree.
creek.
It was cooler when it was a, 35, 40 degree day. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
There was actually, this is not relevant for what we're talking about really, but there was definitely a few instances that you shared with me. I didn't see it, fortunately, but your children were climbing around the building site.
Yeah.
That's not okay. Don't let your children climb construction sites. It's dangerous and safe. It's not unsafe.
Scaffolding is out of limits.
It is not a playground.
Yep. Yep. Very good.
Just touching on your build things before as well, and kind of that lead into that time, quality, cost. I would argue every build that I have done has probably focused on getting the cost lowest, and occasionally I've been lucky that time's been okay, but I've had a couple of builds where time's been massively blown out.
Yep.
I would argue this is the first time we've achieved the quality side of things. We've always compromised quality over time and cost. And yeah, I'm touching the bench because that's probably part of it. But
Oh, no, I mean, you're
Yeah.
tapping the bench.
yeah. But it's the quality is far better than anything else we've had before. Yep. By a mile.
you. That goes hand in hand with you guys. Like you also picked the stuff for us to be able to put in as well. Like quality products makes it easier for us to be able to deliver a quality result. Probably one of the other drivers for it as well, I suppose, to live in the home, if possible, is that can significantly impact the budget for the build as well.
Absolutely. That was probably key driver. And I'd looked at rentals in this area for a family of our size, and it was going to be really expensive. And I thought I'd rather invest that money in the build and get my beautiful benchtops than spend it on
Rent.
rent money.
Yep.
Circus Studio is Australia's leading interior design centre. If you're an architect, building designer, interior designer, builder, or just looking to build your dream home, you need to make a time and come in and check out the space here in Port Melbourne.
With everything from wall and ceiling linings, doors, architectural hardware, cladding and flooring.
This space holds every element that you'll possibly need to design your dream home.
All right, let's segue now to the start of your build journey with this. This is what I really want to highlight and get your experience on where the design started, who you engaged to start with, and kind of how you went through the design process, but obviously before you met us and then got to that early stages. Let's get into the very start of the project.
Yeah. So we decided this time around to engage an architect to do the design of the house. I generally have a philosophy of do a job, do it properly.
Yep.
So I wanted to do it properly this time. Our architect was selected. One of the reasons was I knew his work and I knew his values when it came to architecture and design, and I knew that he was willing to adopt sustainable design and do more of a passive house than, the average architect.
Yep.
So we did have the initial kick-off session, and that was something that was discussed right from day one. The fact that we wanted to adopt passive principles, and then I guess I delved more into the passive house principles. But a lot of that stuff we didn't need to say to him, well, make sure we've got 140 thick stud walls. He did that automatically.
Okay, so that was right from the start. That was
right
already in there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll touch on this in the conversation as well, but I guess what I would do differently this time, and I kick myself because I do know better, is to have that earlier contractor involvement, and that is really a key to success for a building project, to have the constructability input, to have someone to be able to say, I can see what you're trying to design here, but have you thought about how we're going to construct this? Because if you just tweak this, that could save the client money, or it will provide a better outcome. Because by the time that we went out and started talking to builders, the design was pretty well set.
It was pretty well locked in, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right. We might come back to that actually, because I want to keep unpacking how the design did progress to that point before you went to builders.
Yeah. So I think we're both busy people, but the design took a long time.
Yep.
And that was nothing to do with the architect.
And it always does. Like people seem to think that it's going to take like 6 months. We'll start with a design and it's going to be council approved and we're going to start building. But careful, considered design, particularly with what you wanted to achieve from the home, it should take time. I'd be concerned if it was fast.
Yes, that's right. And it took iterations and tweaking things and thinking about, I would lie in bed every single night and mentally walk through each room and go, current design, how does that work? Do I want that to be there? How's the flow of the room? And then I'd communicate that back to the architect.
Yep.
It was a slow process. We're both busy. We didn't have all the time in the world.
So Hamish, the architect, was probably chasing us for the first 6 months or more. It was very much him leading the design and pushing that there. And as Zoe said, not for any real reason, but we probably didn't have an urgency. And I don't really know why, because certainly towards the end of the design process, I'd say that flipped and it was then us kind of chasing him.
Gotcha. Yep.
But yeah, I guess once the problem through the design process is every Saturday morning when we'd go through a walk through the area, we were having a conversation, are we doing this or is this too big a project for us and we're going to move?
Yep.
And so that was constantly influencing the design and the things we were thinking about to try and get what we wanted. We always came back to the same decision, so we kept coming back to what we kind of agreed early and kept going, but it probably meant we weren't in as much of a rush. And then we were.
And it was go.
This is a bit of a left field question actually, but I'm really curious, is there, because one of the most important parts you touch on is communication between the homeowner and the builder. What did you learn about each other during that? Because that's a big commitment and a lot of big decisions where there's obviously a lot of things that Andrew, you would have wanted in the home, Zoe, you wanted in the home. Was there anything that you learnt about each other, or did you communicate in a different way through that design process to come to the final product? We just want to talk about it.
I'm going to let you answer this one.
I think, which will sound strange, I was probably the one less willing to compromise.
Okay.
Because to me, it had to be right this time. And so if anything, I would constantly challenge any time Zoe was willing to make a compromise, and I'd say, no, I don't think you'll cope with that. And that would be at a minute level, but also at a big level.
Yep.
So when we were, like anything you buy, there are compromises that needed to be made, and we probably sacrificed a couple of big ones early to get it over the line. For the most part, it was probably me holding the line and saying that more so than you probably. I think you were probably more keen to have it happen and have something happen.
Yep.
So I think we'd certainly got to the point where if we weren't doing this, we were moving.
Yep.
And I couldn't fathom that, having fallen in love with the location.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the choice. We're either doing this reno or we're selling and we're going someone else. And someone else. I don't think either one of us wanted to build the house for where it was and what it was doing. It needed to be right.
Yep. It was nice actually to watch that experience too, because by the time you guys engaged us, I remember a lot of things where I could tell that Zoe was at the point where she just wanted to start the build, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
and was like, oh, maybe we'll change that or compromise that. And I openly remember you having some conversation. I don't know whether it was a group conversation or not, but a few things where Andrew was backing you in, Zoe, like basically saying that I know how important this was to you.
Yes.
I don't want her to regret it later. So that's a testament to both of you. Well done for, sticking by each other in that way. That's great. Yep. Is there anything before you got to engaging builders, anything else that you want to touch on through the design process before you got to that point, or when did it get to the point of now is the time to start speaking to builders?
I think I just, by that stage, we'd probably been in the design process for easy 18 months.
Okay.
And that was the whole gotcha point. I just want a renovation now. Let's just get it done. Were the designs ready to go out for tender? Perhaps not. I just wanted to get on with it and crack on with it. Yeah. Yep. And that's what, pulled the pin.
Yeah.
And, poor Hamish.
Yep. Now, I want you to be very, very open and honest with me on this one, because this is, obviously I know eventually you chose me as your builder or Callery Building as your builder. How did you go through that process? What were the drivers? Did you interview builders in a certain way? How many did you speak to? That sort of thing. Like, what was the driving things for you guys to ultimately make a decision who was going to build your home?
So to me, again, for the same reasons as kind of Zoe had her principles around the design, she'd probably done the research in terms of the builders, and I'd probably narrowed it down to maybe 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. You didn't tell me there was that many.
And I don't think they were ever genuinely in, and we certainly didn't go visit those there. So we quite quickly got to 2. The first had a display home, and we probably went down that path, and it was feeling really comfortable. We thought it was good, but in our own minds, it's like, no, we must at least test the market. Mm-hmm. And I think Zoe had seen a build, and thankfully it happened to be close by, so we had seen the quality that had come from there. Zoe was able to there, and I think one of the things that you do really well with the social media side of things is you kind of show warts and all, which means you're not afraid to talk about some of the things that can go wrong in a project, which I guess gave us some confidence. And then the other builder did a great job of making us feel comfortable in doing their, but they were keen on almost grabbing the project themselves rather than working with the architect.
Yep.
And I guess, again, like me holding strong on principles, I probably kept saying, but hold on a second, we've spent money, we've spent time, we've invested in the architect process.
Yep.
Do we just wash our hands of that?
Do we start again?
And start again? Because that's what it kind of felt like. Whereas I think quite quickly you'd said, no, I work with the architect. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to work with the architect and know that the architect won't have got everything quite right, but we'll work through that. And so that's, I'd say it flipped quite quickly to you.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Probably what I'll add to that is I'd done a lot of research on South Australian builders who will build and adopt passive design and construction of passive design. So I'd had a narrowed list of builders, and I had contemplated using others that just had a good reputation in the market just for the construction. But I know one of the main things that got Callery over the line was, as Andrew reflected on, social media and being able to, the willingness to put up photos shows you stand by your product. And it's almost like a quality, it's a documentation of quality throughout the build process.
It's not just the glossies at the end
It's not. And that keeps the builder accountable throughout the whole construction process.
Mm-hmm. While we're quickly on that, I'm going to offer that advice then to builders that are listening. It really is. It's so important that you put yourself out there. It's crazy while we're living now that if you're not on social media, no one knows who you are. But it is like, it's honestly, that's what's been incredible for me is the amount of clients that are in that same scenario that we've asked them, like, why did you choose us? And it's openly because you're not hiding anything.
Yep.
You put yourself out there, you show how something's being built. There has been a few times where I've been a bit hesitant to put some bits of content out there because it would almost compromise me a little bit, but it's been explaining that we've run into a hurdle. This is how we overcome it and we move forward from it. And I think the right client will appreciate that and go, cool. Well, we know that nothing's going to get hidden on our build because they've openly put a problem out there and told us how they're going to resolve it.
Yes.
That was part 1 with Zoe and Andrew. Come back next week and listen to part 2. We'll see you then.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you want to find out more about Build Insight, head over to the website buildinsite.com.au. Over on the website, you'll find links to previous podcast episodes as well as our YouTube channel, Instagram and Facebook. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. Catch you on the next one.
Well, that's a wrap for another week's episode of the Build Insight podcast. Before we leave, just want to give a huge shout out to all of our sponsors for their ongoing support. Without their help, Build Insight wouldn't be what it is today.
Let's cue the disclaimer. I need to let you know that myself and the Build Insight team are in no way, shape or form qualified to give you personal or specific business advice. We strongly encourage you seek out the use of professionals for products or when you are making personal or business decisions. Everything discussed during the Build Insight podcast is our own and the guest opinion and personal experience and is of a general nature only. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Catch you on the next one.